Super. That's wonderful. So thank you all for coming and watching, taking the time out of your evening to visit with us. You know,
All right,
you
so
could
I'm
be
going to
doing
start this
anything
back
else
over
you
real
wanted.
quick.
We're going to go ahead and get
Delete
started
this.
again. Thank you, Jacob.
One of the things that a lot of people don't know is that you have the ability to take an actual image like this one right here and trace whatever it is you want over the top of it. So I can create a circle right on here, and we can use this to start the base of whatever it is we want to start creating.
You're fine. Jacob, just keep talking.
We're going to
She
go
thought
ahead
that
and
you
set this
were
one up
cut out.
as starting from scratch, though. So I'm going to move that to the side just so that we have it for reference. So I'm going to take my circle right here, and I'm going to hold down my control and hit C. And holding down control, I'm going to hit V, which is going to make a copy of this. So once I have that done, I'm going to take that second one and I'm going to make it a little smaller so it fits kind of in the center of the first one. I'm going to highlight all of that, come up to a line so I can make sure that it's center aligned right here. Now, one of the things that you have to keep in mind on is the fact that both of these circles are essentially like pancakes. One small pancake on top, one larger on the bottom. If I come up to the top and I combine this, I'm essentially just squishing down two pancakes. So if I set those to engrave, you can see that it's just two flat planes. But what I want to do is cut out that circle in the center. So we'll come to combine, and instead of using unite, we're going to do subtract. And that is going to give us our outer edge of our ornament. So if we come up then, grab a little rectangle, I want to drop it right about here. And I like my edges to be kind of rounded like this right here. I don't want hard edges. So I'm going to come up here to the corner radius, and I'm going to give it a radius. So that radius then made that rounded. And that's found right up here, radius.
You might want to zoom in a little bit there, Jacob.
So we have to make sure that's in the center. So come up to a line, and we're going to horizontally align at the center. And that will allow that to be right in the center. So then we have to create our top circle up here. So we're going to do one of those. Put it kind of close to where we want it over here. It doesn't have to be exact because we're not going to unite it all together yet. So again, if I click on that, I can hold my Control C to copy, Control V to paste. Grab that second circle, make it smaller. And then we're going to come to a line, horizontal and vertical line. And again, we want to subtract, not unite this. So that creates a ring. So then I can take all of this and align it horizontal line center. And now you have the whole outline of your ornament. So you can take that whole piece right there and unite it into one. So when this engraves, I'm going to make this red so it's a little easier to see. That is your full outline of the ornament, like this one right here. And I apologize. I'm trying to catch up reading to see what else going on. Does anybody have any questions or anything about how to create the actual outer portion of the ornament so far? Definitely not my dogs.
I think that we're good so far. I told them just to ask whatever questions they might have that come up, and then I would answer whatever I could while you were going.
Okay.
Yeah, there's definitely
So
a delay.
let's go ahead and grab some elements here. So I definitely know I want a Christmas tree on here. So I am just going to grab this tree from the side. And we don't have a lot of real estate in here. So what I want to do is make this a little smaller. So up on the top, right up here on the size, if you click on the little lock icon, you can change the width or the height individually without changing the whole aspect ratio. So we can take that and make sure that it falls within the confines of our lines. And if you zoom in, you don't want to go past the outer edge here. So you're just right onto the piece there. We want to add a place for people's names on there. So we can drop a bar right here, copy that bar, Control C, Control V, and bring this one down a little bit. Now, you'll notice that when you bring it down, you might come past that edge. So again, we're going to get rid of that lock. Grab this, drag it in, and make sure we do the same thing on the other side. Now, one of the great things about XCS is to select all of this. I can just drag a line right up the side right here, come up and unite. So now I have the outline with the name here, but we want to get rid of this Christmas tree back here. The easiest way to do that is to create a rectangle, drop it right here. So I'm already selected on that rectangle. I can then hold my shift key, grab that Christmas tree, come up to combine, down to subtract, and now I have removed the part of the Christmas tree that I don't want to show. So if I highlight the whole thing again, I can now unite it. So one of the things that I have a lot of people asking me how to fix, and it's going to be really hard to see it, right here on the edge, there's a very, very small cut. If you don't want that to show there, you can come up, grab a circle or rectangle, drop it right over the top, select the whole thing, and unite that. That'll delete that little hole that you don't want there. So now we're getting a little closer to what we're looking at here. Let's grab ourselves some snowflakes. So we're going to go under Festival, scroll down to the bottom, and we're going to grab this one right here, and let's grab this one right here as well. So now I have these two snowflakes right here. I want one of these up top, and I'm going to make a copy of that and bring it down here as well. So I can set it. I can grab this little top piece right here and turn it either way that I want. And so now I have a snowflake there, and I will grab this one. And put it right there. Now what that'll allow me to do is select that whole top piece and combine those to see where I like it. So if I come up to combine, and if I decide, you know what, I really don't like how those are touching here, I can Control Z and take that right back to where it was and move this over just a little bit or bring it back depending on what I want to do. So select it again and unite, and now those showed again. So that takes us back to this last one down here. We want to make sure that we're not going past those edges, so we can do it just a little bit in. Zoom in, and you see I'm just past the top here, so I can use my arrow keys to bring this in where I want it. Now I can also move it over a little bit more, and if you hold your shift key and your arrows, it bumps it a lot faster than just your arrows by themselves. So let's go ahead and take that, unite that, and that leaves us our 23. And I already have a 23 that I typed out. I used brush script for this one, but we can bring this right in here. And the great thing about that is I can undo this lock up at the top, so that if I want it a little taller or a little skinnier, I can drag it just like this. I'm going to drag it down just to make sure that we're not too far around. And now we're connected up here, here, and across the bottom as soon as I come in and click Combine, Unite. So when this actually engraves, or when it cuts, it'll look like this right here. So the only thing we need to do then is add the text for somebody's name. So since Brandon has been helping us with this a lot, I am going to zoom in just so that you can see my letters go just slightly below that line and slightly above that line. Now that's important because when you want this to cut, you want it to have no cut line so the letters don't fall out. So back out here real quick so that I can combine. And now you can see where each of these letters is connected both top and bottom. So again, once you cut this out, it's probably not going to be blue, but it will look a lot like this. All right, so I do apologize. Literally everything that I'm saying, I'm hearing myself say it about 25 seconds later in my head. So
Pretty tough.
if anybody has questions or how to do something, let me know. I'll be more than happy to do the quick walkthrough on any of that, or go back and redo any of the steps so that you can see it.
Are there any questions about the process itself? Okay. How about any questions about maybe some designs that you have made yourself, or some steps? Maybe you've made one of these yourself and have struggled with something, some element. It looks like you covered everything. Well, let's see. No, not really. Not unless you change the processing order. If you look over to the right-hand side, there is an option for processing, and you can do auto
It doesn't
planning
matter
or you
what
can do
features
level.
on top. So if I have, let's throw this shape down and this shape. If you're looking at the top here, if I unite this, it essentially squishes both objects into one. If I subtract, it's going to subtract literally the one from the other. Since it cannot subtract the big one from the little one, it doesn't matter which one I selected first. I know in Lightburn, it depends on which object I select first or which object is front or back. But I found that XCS usually looks for the smaller of the two projects to remove.
Yeah,
So
it's subtracting
going
from
right
the
here,
center as opposed to
it automatically took the
top and
heart
bottom
out
of
of
the
the
stack.
hexagon.
Now, if you do have nested items, if you have like multiple nested items, it can start causing some problems. But other than that, you're not going to run into any problems. But in terms of cutting, yeah, it doesn't matter in terms of what's in order of layer, unless you're changing the processing order. So if you change that from auto to layer.
So I guess to answer that one, the best way is let's set this to cut. And because we love Christmas, we're going to add a reindeer. We're going to mirror that around the other way. Set that to engrave. So the system will automatically look for the best way to do this. But if there's something that you specifically want done first, so let's say I want to make sure that it engraves this reindeer before it cuts the outline, because I don't want to chance something falling through or getting offset. I can come up and I can set this by layer, and I can drag that layer to the top so that the top one is purple. It will engrave before it actually cuts.
All right. Does anybody have any questions other than that? Now would be a... Are you sure, Jacob? All right. So I think next time what we'll do is we'll work on making sure that Jacob can hear me in real time like I can hear him in real time, so we can talk a little better and we're not talking over each other
what I'm
like
going
this.
to do is remove Brandon's name from this ornament, and I'm going to send this file through the project page.
Oops. There we go. You should put the version that has just the outline as well. Put them side by side. So if you just highlight this one and copy it, you can do a Control-Z back to just the outline and then paste, and it'll put the two side by side. This is the magic that they don't show you. You can undo anything that you mess up. You see? Anything that you do, you can fix. You just have to undo. That's it. Whether that be accidentally uniting something, or like he joined that text to the ornament, or if you create a path out of text and you needed to fix the text or whatever, just undo. Save a copy of it with the text, put it on a different canvas, then unite the text onto the design. So like that 23, if you wanted to be able to take this ornament and turn it into one that you could reuse next year, you would, right before you go and you merge everything together and unite it, take a copy of that, put it on another canvas, and then unite it. Then you just have a template that you can use every year and change the number. Does that make sense? Excellent. I'm glad to hear. Any ideas that anybody has about these types of videos that might be helpful to stream? You know, by all means, send me a message on Facebook, and I'll be happy to do videos like this, whether they be with Jacob or whether they be by myself. However, yeah, exactly. I always keep an editable version off to the side as well. That's just how I do it. I usually will keep. Sometimes I will use a second canvas kind of as a staging ground, because while you copy and paste, when you copy and you paste, it puts it, it'll put it 4 millimeters to the right and 4 millimeters down. So if you hold Shift and you push up, left, it put it right over the top. But if you need an absolute copy over the top of the same one, you can copy, put it into a new canvas and paste, and it will be in the exact same spot. Yeah, no problem. And so when you paste and you put it in the exact same spot, then you can go on that one and you can copy it and go back into the original canvas and paste, and it'll be in the exact same spot. So whether it's one object or whether it's a bunch of objects, you know, let's say you want to take a whole group of objects and you just want to be able to work on the stuff that's behind them, and you don't want to move them off to the side and then move them back and want it to be pixel perfect, you can cut that. So like all of these objects here, exactly. But sometimes you don't want to rely on having to have that pixel perfect alignment inside of the piece, right? So you cut all of those elements inside, you select them and then cut, Control X. And then you go to the other canvas and you paste, and it'll put it exactly where it was in the XY grid. So it's absolute placement. And then you go back to your other canvas and you start working. And then once you're done working, then all of a sudden you go back into the second canvas, you select it all again, Control X, go back into this first canvas and paste, and pop, it's right back into the right spot. That way you're not having to go, okay, I've put, I held Shift and pushed Control, Shift left 16, 17 times. Okay, now I know it's right back in the right spot. Or, okay, I've written down my coordinates to the exact place that it needs to be. You can have a perfect placement every time, just utilizing the features within the software. Sometimes knowing the software is the key to having better results. And a lot of the people that go, wow, the XCS doesn't do this or XCS doesn't do that. The reason why they say that is because they just don't know the software. I have worked very hard with the software team and with other testers over the last year and a half to make XCS a lot better. And, the software team over the last 6 months has worked their butts off to make the software fantastic. And they've put in so many of the features that I've asked for, that everybody else has been asking for, but that I make a huge list. And as a software developer, I test it in a different way than most people. So I go through and I'm giving them a list of things to put in. And I'm like, this is not how you do it in the industry. This is how you do it. I've just been doing it for so long. and they listened. Look at what they did with the S1. Look at what they did with the circle marking and the multi-point marking, the polygon marking. The polygon marking was a ridiculous idea that I thought that they were going to tell me that it was too hard to do. And then they put it in there, and I was like, it was a joy to see. I was very surprised. It was like a thumbs up, And then when they listened to me on how to fix the circle marking after we tested it, and we decided that the way that they had implemented it was not the best way to do it, and I explained, like a programmer, this is how it's best fixed. And then they went in and they did it, and it was received so well by the community. It was just, it was really nice. Thank you. It's one of my favorite contributions. It eliminates the need for a camera, and the multiple shapes. That was another one of my ridiculous ideas. And I said, with these two features, you need no camera, because you can go out and you can shape out a bunch of holes. Let's say I have a piece of wood and I have cut a bunch of holes out of it. I can make one big shape, and then I can do a bunch of little shapes that are the shapes of the holes. And then I could just piece around, So if I'm making all these ornaments, I can go cut out ornaments out of every little extra piece of scrap, because of that polygon feature, because of the multiple pieces, the multiple markings. It takes this machine, the S1 specifically, and just makes it so versatile. It's amazing. It really was. It was a really awesome thing for them to do. It really made me feel good as a member of the testing team, and it made me feel heard as an individual. And it kind of, solidified that they're changing the way that they look at things, and that they're listening to people more. They're paying attention to people outside of their organization a lot more than maybe they have in the past, and it's kind of really awesome. And Jacob, you don't ever have to apologize for letting your puppies out. At least you did it without them having to push the button. His dogs have a really awesome button that they get to push, and you get to hear Jacob's voice telling him that the dogs have to go potty. And it like rattles his house. It's very loud. Yeah, it's pretty great. Yeah. I'm gonna have to ask you about the buttons. I gotta train the little one. She likes to hang out. She likes to hang out outside, and then she'll come in and try to do her duty right next to the back door. And I'm like, "Now get out of there. Get out of here." Yeah. You need to make the text smaller. Yeah, we can wrap this up. There's no need for us to drag it out past the 50 minutes. We can wrap it up, and we can set this up for another time as well for any other questions. Like I said, if you have any other topics that you want us to cover, I would love to be able to do as many of these as I can on specific parts of XCS, on any particular aspects of the software. I'm going to make a series of them to try and answer the questions on how to do these types of things, to make it a little easier for new or even seasoned users that are moving over from other software, because sometimes moving in from another software or another design system, how do I do this? Moving in from like Cricut or something like that. I don't know that software, but you can describe what it is that you want me to do, and I can figure it out in this, or I can figure it out in Inkscape or Photoshop or Illustrator or any Krita or whatever piece of software we might need to use, and move it into XCS, because that's the goal, right? We want to use XCS for the xTool machines. You don't want to use Lightburn in general for the lack of advanced features until and unless those get enabled, because I really like the advanced features. Using the curved features of the S1 is super awesome. I've got a request in trying to get the curve feature enabled for the rotary. I think that would be really, really cool. Think about it. How awesome would that be to be able to do curved engravings on a rotary device? That'd be huge. No other device does that right now. So hopefully they get that figured out. Oh man, I'm about to sneeze. Maybe not. Fought it off for another day. Yeah. So they get a lot of those kinds of weird ideas from me, and hopefully they continue to listen and incorporate them, because we all win. At least I think so. Anywho, well, thank you for showing up. And like I said, send those messages over to me on Facebook. That pings my phone. Or you can, post them here, I guess. Thank you for coming. Jacob, thank you for sticking around and showing everybody this method that you use. I think it's great. Thank you for sharing the file. Thank you for contributing to the community. It helps dramatically. Definitely keeps a lot of the weight off of my shoulders when I can't be around. So I appreciate it.